I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. Just put yourself right into this very specific moment.
Okay, setting the scene. I like it.
Right. So you are 14 years old. You are sitting on this cramped concrete rooftop of a crowded chawl tenement in the heart of Delhi.
Oh, so it's incredibly dense, like thousands of people living shoulder to shoulder.
Exactly. Total sensory overload all day. Privacy basically just doesn't exist there. And it's late. You're shivering under this like thin, scratchy blanket.
So you're trying to catch a break.
Yeah, you're just staring up at the night sky, trying to find a rare moment of quiet in a city that literally never stops moving.
Which is hard enough on its own.
It is. But then, without a single sound, without any warning at all, the universe literally crashes into you.
Literally.
Yes. A microscopic drop of molten heat from, deep space falls with absolute pinpoint precision and just strikes your ankle.
I mean, it is the ultimate violation of your personal space. Right?
Yeah.
You're up there looking for some peace, and instead you become the exact epicenter of this massive interstellar event.
It's a genuinely terrifying thought. And it's the exact starting point of the incredible story we are exploring today.
It's such a wild ride.
It really is. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking deep into the origin story of the comic Crystals,
which follows this highly chaotic, totally accidental encounter between a teenage boy named Suraj and a liquid crystal alien entity.
Right. But, beyond the sheer cinematic spectacle of it all, and there is a lot of spectacle, we really want to unpack the heavier realities going on here.
Because there's a lot going on under the surface.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're talking about the really painful mechanics of adaptation, the bizarre blending of completely alien cultures, and I think most importantly, the crushing psychological burden of just receiving sudden unearned power.
Yeah, to even comprehend the gravity of that moment on the terrace, we actually have to pull the camera way, way back.
Right, start from the top.
Exactly, because the inciting incident begins on a scale so massive, it almost defies human understanding. I want you to picture a living crystal starship.
Okay, wait. Living crystal.
Yeah, so we aren't talking about, a metallic husk full of wires and thrusters. This is an organic, crystalline vessel, just humming with ancient light, quietly navigating the absolute zero in deep space.
Wow. I mean, it sounds more like a floating cathedral than a spaceship.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Very much so. But unfortunately, this majestic structure is violently interrupted.
Right.
A bolt of cosmic lightning strikes the vessel. And the sheer force of it doesn't just damage the ship, it shatters it into a million independent fragments.
A million? That's insane.
Yeah. But for this story, we were only tracking one of those fragments. One single liquid crystal core gets caught in Earth's gravitational pull and just plunges right through our atmosphere.
So it's essentially a meteorite at this point.
Basically, yeah. And the extreme friction of re-entry, it acts almost like a forge. It distills this massive core down into a single nano-sized drop streaking directly over the skies of Delhi.
And that's it. That is the microscopic bullet of heat that strikes Suraj on the roof, just jolting him awake in sheer agony.
Which, I mean, is such a crazy transition.
Oh, the transition there is just wild. We drop from this, epic cosmic catastrophe all the way down to a 14-year-old kid grabbing his leg and screaming on a concrete roof.
The contrast between the macro and the micro there really sets the tone for everything that follows.
It does. Because the immediate aftermath of the strike is so visceral. It isn't just a burn on his leg. Micro tendrils of energy start weaving across Suraj's skin.
Like a physical reaction to the alien material.
Exactly. And the environment around him instantly reacts to this, foreign energy too. The air on the terrace actually starts to ripple.
Kind of like that intense heat distortion you see shimmering over a black asphalt road in the middle of summer.
Yes, exactly like that. And from that rippling air, a literal liquid mass rises from the floor of the terrace and swirls upward. And then it solidifies into a perfect, translucent, crystal copy of Suraj himself.
I mean, just put yourself in his headspace for a second.
I would lose my mind.
Right. You jolt awake with a burning leg, your brain is just flooded with adrenaline, and suddenly you are staring at a glowing, geometric, crystal mirror image of your own body.
His reaction is honestly the most realistic part of the whole scenario for me. He scrambles backward, completely panicked, and stammers out, "Budhai kya? Alien! Am I dreaming?"
He's basically asking, is this thing a ghost or an alien?
Right. He has no frame of reference, and this crystal entity tilts its head, and its voice comes out as this strange, glitchy, telepathic echo.
Oh, the dialogue here is fascinating.
It is. It says, Mermain, tum nahulan, I am learning. And then it follows up with, tum hararup useful high, adaptation, meaning your form is useful. Adaptation.
It is a profoundly unsettling first contact, like deeply unsettling.
I'm going to take it a step further. I think it's incredibly creepy.
Oh, for sure.
I totally get why it feels invasive. It reminds me of, buying a brand new smart device.
Oh, how so?
Well, you turn it on, and before you even know how to use it, it aggressively reaches in and tries to sync to all your personal data, your contacts, your location history. It just takes what it wants without asking.
I see what you mean. It's a forced integration.
Exactly. So my question is this alien just using Siraj as a convenient biological blueprint to survive our atmosphere? Or is there an actual two-way psychological link happening here?
Because on the surface, it looks like biological identity theft.
Yes, identity theft. That's exactly it.
Well, I see the parallel with the invasive smart device. I really do. But if we analyze how the entity communicates, a very different picture actually emerges.
Okay, tell me more.
It isn't acting like a parasite. It's acting more like a drowning sailor grabbing a lifeline. Look really closely at the language you just quoted.
Right.
It doesn't use pure English, and it doesn't use pure Hindi either. It uses a very specific colloquial blend of the two, right? English? Main tum nahi hun, I am learning.
Which obviously is exactly how kids in Delhi actually speak on the street. It's super colloquial.
Precisely. And this bilingual mimicry is the crucial mechanism of their bond. It proves that the alien's adaptation is intensely, rapidly cognitive.
So it's not just a physical scan.
No, it isn't just scanning his physical dimensions like a 3D printer and churning out a copy. It is actively tapping into his neural pathways. It's absorbing his cultural, linguistic, and emotional environment in real time.
Wow.
And here's the kicker. It is doing all of this specifically to lower his heart rate.
Wait, to calm him down? By turning into a glowing crystal version of him? I mean, that seems kind of counterintuitive.
I know, it sounds weird, but think about the alien's immediate prior experience.
Okay.
It literally just survived the violent destruction of its entire civilization, fell through a burning atmosphere, and landed in a completely alien gravity well. It is desperate to stabilize.
Ah, okay. So it's terrified too.
Exactly. By adopting Siraj's exact colloquial speech patterns in physical form, it is attempting to find a recognizable frequency. It is telepathically saying, I see you. I am matching your reality so you understand I'm not a predator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a survivor frantically trying to establish a baseline of empathy. And the crazy thing is, the strategy actually works.
It does.
Yeah, following that initial shock, Siraj's terror actually begins to recede. It gets replaced by this strange mutual curiosity.
Okay, that definitely reframes the entire encounter. It's less of an invasion and more of a, well, like a desperate, aggressive handshake.
A handshake that permanently rewrites both of their DNA, yeah.
Right. But, the universe doesn't let you process things on your own timeline. Eventually, the sun comes up.
And the city wakes up.
Exactly. And hiding a cosmic entity on a shared residential terrace becomes an entirely different logistical nightmare. Power, by its very nature, just refuses to stay hidden.
And Earth, specifically a megacity like Delhi, is a highly complicated place to try and manage that kind of power.
For sure. So the story shows us how Crystal, which, by the way, is the name Siraj gives the entity.
Right, Crystal.
Yeah, it shows how Crystal further adapts to survive the daylight. Because to stay by Siraj's side without causing a mass panic, Crystal actually shifts its form into a shimmering crystal dog.
Which, logically, is a pretty sound strategy. A dog can follow a boy anywhere, down alleys, through markets, across streets, all without raising immediate suspicion from a distance.
Okay, I hear you on the logic, but come on. A glowing, geometric, translucent dog, does that actually blend into the chaotic, dusty, hyper-crowded streets of Delhi?
I know it sounds absurd.
I just keep picturing people dropping their groceries and doing massive double takes as this prism dog trots by.
Well, the thing is, people tend to see what they expect to see.
Fair point.
Right.
Yeah.
In a city of 30 million people moving at breakneck speed, the human brain actively filters out anomalies to avoid sensory overload.
Oh, like inattentional blindness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You expect to see a stray dog trotting behind a kid, so your brain just kind of glosses over the fact that the dog happens to be refracting sunlight like a prism. It relies on the illusion of normalcy.
But that illusion shatters pretty quickly, and in the most dramatic way possible. because a massive crisis hits the city.
The subway incident.
Yes, a Delhi metro train derails deep inside a tunnel. It's an absolute catastrophe. Twisted metal, thick black smoke, people trapped in the dark.
It's a terrifying scenario.
And Suraj happens to be nearby. He hears the screams echoing up from the station. And this is really the pivot point of the story. With Crystel's alien energy now permanently humming in his own veins, Suraj becomes a literal blur of incredible speed.
He just reacts.
Yeah. He and the Crystal dog dive into the smoke, ripping open train doors, pulling passengers from the wreckage in, like, fractions of a second. They perform undeniable miracles down there.
I saved so many lives.
So many. And by the time the dust settles and horning breaks, the legend of Superboy and Superdog is trending across the entire city.
You know, on the surface, it hits every single beat of the classic superhero origin trope. The tragedy, the sudden intervention, the birth of the myth.
It really does. But here is where the story gets incredibly nuanced, I think. Right before Suraj jumps down into that dark tunnel, right before he unleashes his speed for the very first time, he hesitates.
Yes, that moment is so important.
He whispers this deeply poignant line to himself. He says, "Hero banana hichara abas, insin banachara hon." Basically, I don't want to be a hero. I just want to be human.
That hesitation right there, that is the emotional anchor of the entire narrative.
It completely reframes the rescue for me. He is so utterly reluctant. It makes me think of someone who is just walking down the sidewalk, minding their own business.
Right.
And suddenly a stranger throws them the steering wheel of a speeding bus full of passengers and yells, "Drive!"
Exactly.
He didn't ask for the wheel. He's a 14-year-old kid who was literally just trying to get some sleep on his roof.
When you look at the underlying themes here, this completely subverts the traditional power fantasy we've all been fed for decades in comic books.
Also.
Well, usually when a teenager gets superhuman abilities, there's this period of euphoria.
Right.
They are jumping over buildings, testing how much they can lift, excitedly sewing a costume in their bedroom.
Totally. It's pure wish fulfillment.
Right. They view power as a sudden, massive upgrade in their social status. But Suraj's reaction highlights the pure, unadulterated burden of power.
The burden.
Yeah, the empathy that Crystel tapped into on the roof. That empathy is a terrifying double-edged sword. Think about the reality of his situation.
Okay.
When you actually possess the ability to move at supersonic speeds and you know you can physically pull people from a going train, you suddenly must do it.
Because if you don't.
If you walk away, their deaths are permanently on your conscience. The choice to be a normal, anonymous human being was entirely revoked the second that drop of crystal hit his ankle.
Man, that is heavy.
Imagine yourself in his shoes. If you were suddenly burdened with the physical capacity to intervene in a mass casualty disaster, would you run toward the smoke, or would you run away from the crushing psychological responsibility?
Honestly, I think most people would freeze or run away. The sheer terror of getting it wrong, of not being fast enough, of making a mistake that costs a life, it's paralyzing.
Yet Suraj runs into the dark, and he doesn't do it out of a desire for glory or a sense of grand destiny. He does it out of a desperate, inescapable sense of obligation.
Right.
He wants to be human, and the most fundamentally human thing he can do in that horrifying moment is try to stop the suffering he hears.
That is so powerful. But, you know, the problem with moving at supersonic speeds to save a train in a city of 30 million people is that you leave a massive footprint.
Oh, absolutely.
Miracles draw attention. You cannot perform acts that literally defy physics in a major metropolis without powerful, dangerous people noticing immediately.
No, you can't.
The heroics in the metro tunnel directly trigger the escalating tension that dominates the rest of the story.
It is basic physics applied to human sociology. Every massive action has an equal, often violent, opposite reaction.
And that violent reaction catches up to them on the Yamuna Bridge.
Such a great scene.
It is a stunning cinematic standoff.
Yeah.
The fog is rolling off the river, the streetlights are flickering, and Suraj and Crystel find themselves completely boxed in.
Nowhere to run.
Nowhere. And they are surrounded by a trifecta of distinct threats. On one side, you have heavily armed government commandos.
Right. State power.
Then on another side, you have seasoned goons working for this notorious crime lord named Ravu.
The criminal underworld.
Exactly. And closing out the circle are agents sent by a brilliant but corrupt scientist, Dr. Virat. Three completely different, deeply dangerous factions, all converging on this kid and his alien at the exact same moment.
And sensing the extreme severity of this threat, Crystel drops the illusion of the dog.
Oh, yeah.
The entity shifts rapidly, growing into a tall, imposing humanoid form made of jagged crystal, just to physically shield Suraj from the crossfire.
As dozens of weapons are leveled at them from the fog, Suraj is terrified. His voice is trembling, and he asks Crystal, Sapamari Pisha, why is everyone after us?
And Crystal's response is easily one of the most profound statements in this entire deep dive.
I get chills every time I read it. Crystal stands tall, looking at all the surrounding guns, and says, You embarrassed physics and criminals, Suraj. Power wants to own you.
Power wants to own you. It's a chillingly accurate assessment of the situation.
I am absolutely obsessed with the phrase, you embarrassed physics. It perfectly encapsulates what this must look like to the outside world.
Oh, totally.
It's like winning the biggest lottery in history, say $1 billion. But instead of an anonymous bank transfer, you are forced to carry all that cash in a clear backpack while walking down the street.
That is a terrifying analogy.
But it's true. Instantly, every desperate and dangerous person in the city knows exactly where you are and what you have. But I do have to push back on the aliens' dialogue here a little bit.
Okay, what's the issue?
How does a crystal entity from deep space suddenly possess such a cynical, nuanced understanding of human greed? I mean, did it just become too human too fast?
I see what you're asking.
How does it even know about geopolitics and criminal underworlds after literally a couple of days on Earth?
Well, that is the pivotal question about how this alien learns. Think about the sheer volume of ambient data it is processing.
Right, from Suaj.
Yes, it is bonded directly to Suraj's nervous system. Suraj is a marginalized kid growing up in the streets of Delhi. He knows instinctively to avoid the police. He knows which gangs run which blocks. He knows when the system is rigged against him.
Oh, so it's a survival instinct.
Exactly. He possesses a deep subconscious survival instinct. The entity didn't need to read a political science textbook. It downloaded the lived emotional reality of a vulnerable teenager and extrapolated the entire societal structure from there.
Wow.
It processed his raw anxiety through the cognitive power of an advanced interstellar being.
So it's reflecting his own deeply buried fears back at him, but with a much sharper analytical lens.
Exactly. And look at the three factions surrounding them. It is a perfect micro-representation of human society.
Let's break that down.
Well, you have the government commandos representing state power, the absolute need to control, regulate, and militarize the unknown.
Right, the authorities.
Then you have Ravu's goons representing the underworld, the ruthless exploitation of chaos for profit.
Makes sense.
Finally, Dr. Virat's agents represent corrupt science, the cold desire to dissect and commodify miracles without any ethical boundaries.
So everyone wants a piece.
Right. These three forces converging simultaneously proves the alien's thesis. In the human world, unchecked, independent power is never allowed to just exist peacefully.
Because it disrupts the status quo.
Yes, it disrupts the established order. Therefore, the system demands it must be captured, owned, or destroyed.
Man, it read the geopolitical room and realized the room was a cage.
And realizing that there is absolutely no talking their way out of this structural reality, Crystal makes a split-second, heartbreaking decision.
Yeah, this part is tough.
As the weapons are cocked, Crystal tells Suraj, main flash shield Bananga. You run, Suraj, meaning I will make a flash shield. You run.
Which is just, wow.
The alien, who started this journey on the terrace, just desperately trying to survive by copying a boy's face, is now willingly preparing to sacrifice its own existence to protect him from his own species.
It's an incredible evolution of their bond in such a tight window of time.
It really is the ultimate manifestation of adaptation. It learned our language, it learned our empathy, it learned our cruelty, and finally, it learned sacrifice.
That is just beautifully said. So when we step back and look at the entire scope of what we've explored today, we tracked a cosmic accident from the silent void of space all the way down to a terrified boy shivering on a Delhi roof.
Quite the journey.
We analyzed how a single drop of liquid crystal sparked an incredible saga of survival and adaptation. We saw an alien learn Hinglish to establish an emotional baseline.
Right.
We explored the isolating, terrifying reality of a teenager forced to become a hero, and we ended in a fog-covered standoff where a boy and a starship core had to face the absolute worst elements of human greed.
It's a massive, sweeping narrative packed into just a few intense days.
It really is.
The thematic depth is extraordinary. But before we wrap up, I actually want to leave you with one final thread.
Oh, Reggie, lay it on me.
Something to really mull over based on the very first moments of the events we discussed.
Okay.
So we spent all our time today analyzing the fallout of one liquid crystal core plunging into the atmosphere, landing in Delhi, and giving a teenager the power to embarrass physics.
Yeah, just the one.
But remember the mechanics of the inciting incident. The cosmic lightning didn't just break the living crystal starship.
Right.
It shattered it into a million fragments.
Wait a million.
A million. We have seen the chaos, the destruction, and the societal upheaval caused when just one fragment bonds with a kid who genuinely just wanted to be left alone.
Oh my God.
So I ask you to ponder this. Where did the rest of those million fragments land? Across our cities, across our oceans, across the wider universe.
That is terrifying.
And more importantly, who or what is currently adapting to them?
That is an incredibly chilling thought to end on.
Ah.
Because, yeah, the universe didn't just crash into Suraj's ankle. It might have crashed into everything.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of crystals. Keep looking up at the stars, and maybe keep a very close eye on what's falling from them.